Good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. My God, it has been a very long time since I saw y'all. But, when you got a brand new job that forces you to wake up super early in the morning almost every day, I barely even have time to do this anymore. So, let's lead off with that. Essentially, I wake up around 4 a.m. to go to the hospital, and then I get off at 1:30 in the afternoon. By that time, I'm pretty stinking tired, and I just have not had the time to film any videos at all. And I highly apologize for that. June, I'm going to start getting back into the swing of things and going back to movie reviews. So moving forward with the channel, I'm only going to focus on newer movie releases and give you some reviews on that. I will also continue with my monthly wrap-ups, but it's just going to be working out my scheduling with YouTube. Because, I usually film right before I go to bed, but by the time I go to bed, I'm already asleep because I have to get up super early in the morning. But all that aside, I'm finally back, and I'm going to give you guys a book haul. So, going to be a very easy video to give you guys, and I already filmed the book haul for April, but apparently it got lost somehow. So, I'm just going to combine what I got in April and May. And as you see right by me, I have quite a few to cover. So without making this video way too long, let's go ahead and get started. In no particular order, I'm just going to go by my online orders first. So let's talk about the books that I got on Amazon. And the first three books I want to show off are going to be by the same author. And they are all by James Cain. So, first book I want to show off again is The Dead Children's Playground. And this is basically about a haunted playground filled with dead children. And it's a brother and sister trying to figure out the mystery behind this place. This is part of the 2025 Books of Horror Indie Brawl. And this is definitely on my list to read within the next month or two. So that is The Dead Children's Playground. Next, My Pet Werewolf. And I'm going to read the back of this because I forgot what it's really about. Brady Bennett can't shake his guilt, blaming himself for his dad's fatal hunting accident 7 years prior. The 18-year-old doesn't trust his cruel stepdad and worries for his twin sister. But his suffering takes a strange twist after fleeing into the woods from a school bully, only to see his attacker get ripped to pieces by a savage beast. Fearing no one will still believe his wild story or that they'll blame him for the boy's death, Brady sets out to capture the murderous creature and use it for his own ends. And when the monster transforms back into a man desperate to stop the carnage, The team promises to free him in exchange for one final gory deed. Will Brady's plot take out his enemies, spill the blood of innocents? So, sounded like a pretty good one and a pretty messed up one. That is My Pet Werewolf by James Cain. And the final book I got by him was Black Friday. And this one, to me, was pitched like Battle Royale on Black Friday. So, this is about like a former soldier, and he is pitted against random people, and it's just a fight to the death. This one sounds amazing. So these were the three I got from James Cain back in April. Moving on to a Christopher Triana exclusive. I don't recognize this world anymore. And this is, like I said, a special edition exclusively on his website. And this is something very different from him. This is a prison set novel. So I'm going to read what it's about. Most people who go to prison don't go willingly. The same cannot be said for corrections officers who take on one of the most dangerous jobs in America. Liam Donnelly's new profession requires him to spend most of his time in a women's correctional institution. Norrington houses the worst female offenders in the country. But with his dog in need of cancer treatment, Liam is desperate for cash and works whatever overtime shifts the captain offers, but it's simply not enough. When inmate Zoe Hallister is brought to Liam's unit, he begins a criminal partnership with her, running dope, cell phones, and other contraband into the prison. Zoe even pairs with him a drug dealer on the outside, her unstable cousin, Dennis. Tensions rise as the privately owned prison fills with narcotics. Violent attacks increase, predators thrive. Prisoners reconnect with their old gang members. Liam knows things are getting too dangerous, but his feelings for Zoe continue him down a dark path. Soon he realizes he's not as in control of the situation as he thought he was, and finds himself in a world he no longer recognizes as Zoe drives Norrington into chaos. And there's his signature right there. So, definitely something different from him. I'm pretty sure it'll still be pretty brutal, but setting it inside a prison definitely caught my attention. I don't recognize this world anymore. And I have more Amazon pickups. Let's knock those out. These next two are by David Sodergren. So let's talk about them. Summer of the Monsters. This one is totally different by him because this is mostly a YA novel. Let's see what it is. Monsters aren't real. That's what 16-year-old Lucy Brannigan has always believed until, broke and desperate, she and her father moved to an isolated farmhouse in the small Scottish town of Hellsbridge. It's their last chance, and they have to make it work. For Lucy, life appears to be over. With no friends and surrounded by miles of thick woodland, there's nothing to do. But why did the previous occupants leave their belongings behind? And why is their new home surrounded by dozens of scarecrows? And worst of all, what is the cause of the horrifying screams that wake her in the night? This summer, Lucy will be forced to learn the dark secret of Hellsbridge, and as the bodies pile up and the blood flows in rivers, she makes a shocking discovery that will change the course of her life forever. Monsters are real, and no amount of flesh can can sate their diabolical hunger. So, definitely sounds like a fun one. And this one runs to $239. So, not too bad. That is Summer of the Monsters by David Sodergren. Death Spell with a really gnarly cover. 25 years ago, young businessman Ron Jarvis made a sinister deal that changed his life forever. The cost was high, but who can put a price on power? Now Ron is the CEO of a global media empire and one of the richest men in the world. And yet to help his daughter, Ron will once more seek out the architect of that hideous pact, bringing death, despair, and total destruction to all around him in a jaw-dropping frenzy of outrageous bloody carnage. With Death Spell, David Sodergren, author of Maggie's Grave and Rotten Tommy, will once more plunge you into the depths of insanity and depravity. So, another interesting one, and this one runs to $240. So roughly about the same length as Summer of the Monsters. But this one is much darker. Moving on from there, I got a couple more from Amazon. Port Look by Timothy King. And this is his newest novel. A little bit on the longer side, but this one is a creature feature that's based off of a true event. So let's see what it is. Nearly 80 years ago, the town of Portlook was a thriving community in the wilds of Alaska. That wasn't until a series of unexplained deaths and disappearances forced the townspeople to abandon their home. The town has since been re-inhabited, drawing in new residents and businesses. By all accounts, the town is thriving until a body is found on the outskirts of town, shattering the illusion of safety and security. Sheriff Johnny Myers is tasked with investigating the grisly scene. What at first appears to be a random animal attack soon reveals itself to be something much more sinister. As the bodies pile up, Johnny digs into the town's tragic past, searching for a way to stop the cycle of violence. In the wake of the ever-growing death toll, Johnny is forced to face the truth. The stories were real, and it's happening again. So, by the looks of it, could be like a werewolf type novel. But we'll see what happens. That is Port Look by Timothy King. And the final book that I got from Amazon was Dust by Chris Miller. This is one of the last splatter westerns that I do own. I might be missing a couple, but I almost have the entire collection. I have a problem. But let's see what this one is about. 1879. An unknown and timeless evil descends on East Texas. James D., bestowed with knowledge from beyond, moves through time and space, pursuing age-old horrors and ending their reigns. As he seeks the hidden town of Dust to continue his life work, another is hot on his heels and will stop at nothing to rip the divine knowledge from D. As three opposing forces collide, D becomes both hero and villain in his quest against the elders. He doesn't have time to be sorry. There are gods to kill. So, to me, this one has always looked Lovecraftian. You can see like the tentacles there, and this one is definitely going to be more of a cosmic horror story. So this one definitely sounded fun. That was Dust by Chris Miller. That's everything I got off of Amazon, but I have more from Barnes & Noble. So let's talk about them. Terrifier 2, the official movie novelization by Tim Wagner. This needs no introduction. This is basically the movie in novel form. So, bigger, bloodier, and meaner. So, definitely can't wait to read this one at some point. It's definitely going to be very gnarly and very, very fun. That was Terrifier 2. Bone White by Ronald Malfi. And I'm going to read the back of this as well. Paul Gallo sees the report on the news, a disheveled loner in the remote hamlet of Dread's Hand, Alaska. Calmly admits to the murder of 8 hikers and agrees to lead authorities to his victims' graves. It's the same bit of unsettling wilderness where Paul's twin brother Danny vanished a year ago. Assuming that Danny's remains will be among the exhumed bodies, Paul arrives to find Dread's Hand far from welcoming. Locals talk of superstitions, legends, and a devil that steals souls. Wooden crosses staked in the frozen ground cordon off the woods to keep what's in there from coming out. Most troubling, no one can explain exactly what happened to Danny. As Paul searches for answers, the true horrors of Dread's Hand close in around him. The most chilling mystery of all may be how to get out of there alive. So, basically a madman hunting hikers in the woods during the winter. Bone White by Ronald Malfi. Speaking of Ronald Malfi, Senseless. This book came out in April, and again, it was in my previous video, but that got lost, so you know the drill. But this is basically like a crime novel that has like a supernatural edge to it. But I'm going to read it anyway. What do you see? When the mutilated body of a young woman is discovered in the desert on the outskirts of Los Angeles, the detective assigned to the case can't deny the similarities between this murder and one that occurred a year prior. Media outlets are quick to surmise this is the work of a budding serial killer, but Detective Bill Rennie is struggling with an altogether different scenario, a secret that keeps him tethered to the husband of the first victim. What do you hear? Maureen Park, newly engaged to Hollywood producer Greg Dawson, finds her engagement party crashed by the arrival of Landon, Greg's son. A darkly unsettling young man, Landon invades Maureen's new existence, and the longer he stays, the more convinced she becomes that he may have something to do with the recent murder in the high desert. What do you feel? Toby Campen, the self-proclaimed human fly, begins an obsession over a woman who was unlike anyone he has ever met. A woman with rattlesnake teeth and a penchant for biting. A woman who has trapped him in her spell. A woman who may or not be completely human. In Ronald Malfi's brand new thriller, these 3 storylines converge to create a tapestry of deceit, distrust, and unapologetic horror. A brand new novel of dark suspense set in the City of Angels, as only Horace Faulkner can tell it. So, definitely going to be a cool one. And this runs to $4.28. Senseless by Ronald Malfi. And finally, to finish this video off, I made one last stop for Barnes & Noble today. So these three by me are brand new. Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. And this is a very short novella. It's approximately 101 pages. So I'm going to read the back of this. Times have been tough for 12-year-old Junior, his mom, and especially his younger brother Dino. When his dad makes a surprise visit late one night, Junior is desperate to make him part of their family again. The only problem is, Dad drowned 8 years ago, and bringing back the dead always comes at a cost. So, this is basically his vision on a haunted house story. Now, you know me, I don't have the best relationship with Stephen Graham Jones, but I'm trying to get back into him. But this one might have me satisfied, because it's like a little haunted house novella. Mapping the Interior. Next, The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. And this has a very vague synopsis, so I'm going to read it. A group of friends investigates the mystery of a strange staircase in the woods in this mesmerizing horror novel from the New York Times bestselling author of The Book of Accidents. 5 high school friends are bonded by an oath to protect one another no matter what. Then on a camping trip in the middle of the forest, they find something extraordinary, a mysterious staircase to nowhere. One friend walks up and never comes back down. Then the staircase disappears. 20 years later, the staircase has reappeared. Now the group returns to find the lost boy and what lies beyond the staircase in the woods. So, very self-explanatory, and this isn't as long as his other novels. I mean, have you seen The Book of Accidents and Wanderers? Then things are door stoppers. This is almost 400 pages. But this one definitely sounded very, very good. The Staircase in the Woods. And to cap this whole thing off, my buddy Stephen King came out with a brand new novel yesterday. This is Never Flinch. And there's something on the back here, but I'm going to read what this is actually about. When the Buckeye City Police Department receives a disturbing letter from a person threatening to kill 13 innocents and 1 guilty to atone for the needless death of an innocent man, Detective Izzy Janes has no idea what to think. Are 14 citizens about to be slaughtered in an act of deranged retribution? As the investigation unfolds, Izzy realizes that the letter writer is deadly serious, as she turns to her friend Holly Gibney for help. So this is another Holly Gibney book. Meanwhile, controversial and outspoken women's rights activist Kate McKay is embarking on a multi-state lecture tour, drawing packed venues of both fans and detractors. Someone who vehemently opposes Kate's message of female empowerment has been targeting her and disrupting her events. At first, no one was hurt, but the stalker is growing bolder, and Holly is hired to be Kate's bodyguard. A challenging task with a headstrong employer and a determined adversary driven to wrath, or driven by wrath and unhinged righteousness. Featuring a riveting cast of characters both old and new, including world-famous gospel singer Sister Bessie and an unforgettable villain addicted to murder, these twin narratives converge in a chilling and spectacular conclusion, a feat of storytelling only Stephen King can pull off. Thrilling, wildly fun, and outrageously engrossing, Never Flinch is one of Stephen King's richest and most propulsive novels. So this one runs to $4.39. So not a bad length, but can Stephen King write horror again instead of crime fiction? That seems that that's the only thing he's writing now. But we'll see when I get to this eventually. That is Never Flinch by Stephen King. And there you have it. These are all the books that I acquired in April and May. So, look forward to more videos in the near future. I'm hoping to have my wrap-ups up by the weekend, at least. And I at least want to review Bring Her Back for you guys. So, that's probably going to be my next movie review. But I also want to see Karate Kid Legends, and I'm probably going to watch Fear Street Prom Queen tonight. So this is all up in the air, but I'm going to try my best to get caught up on what I can. But June will be a better month, I hope. But that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I'll see you guys soon. Adios. Peace.